Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Rukas again, and I'd like to welcome you to Module 2 of our course in serial homicide. All right. Um, so, in this week, and I know you've got a lot of reflections, so I'm going to keep these recordings short and sweet because you've got 4 reflections due this week: 2 on Jeffrey Dahmer and 2 on Ted Bundy. But I'm going to keep these lectures short and sweet. This week we'll be focusing on hedonistic serial killers and power control serial killers. Okay, however, before I get started, I want to let you know that there's 4 different types of classifications of serial killers. The first is hedonistic, the second is power control, both of which we're going to be going over in this unit. Then we have mission-oriented serial killers as well as visionary serial killers. Now, those are the 4 common classifications of serial killers. I'm also going to add an additional unit on mass shootings, as well as female serial killers. All right. That being said, let's start with hedonistic serial killers. Hedonistic serial killers are people that kill, frankly, because they enjoy it. Killing allows these individuals to get a certain type of satisfaction and release that they can get no other way. Many times people will be craving this satisfaction and will what will happen is they'll kill one person, then that satisfaction will be satisfied, but it's very manic. The satisfaction will then go away until it builds up and builds up and builds up until they have to kill an individual again. Many times this satisfaction normally takes one of 2 forms, the first of which is sexual, all right? And that's characterized many times by necrophilia. And what I mean by necrophilia is a sexual propriety for having sex with corpses. You'll find that many of our serial killers in the hedonistic category are necrophiliacs, and that they are able to have a level of sexual satisfaction that comes with having a sex with a corpse that they have killed. One other reason that we sometimes see hedonistic serial killers, although this is much more rare, is in the case of financial gain. That said, that normally brings the finances, but we're not talking the similar level of satisfaction. Now, the serial killer that we're going to cover this week is Jeffrey Dahmer. You'll note that I'll always start with the number of people that individual killed. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 people over a multi-year period. Jeffrey Dahmer picked up most of his individuals in gay bars. Dahmer had originally started his career killing animals. However, that gradually increased. He had a stint in the military that didn't work out too well because he had problems with alcoholism. But eventually, his killing escalated until he started killing human beings. What he would do is he would go out and he would cruise gay bars, pick gentlemen up, take them home, offer them a rum and coke that would knock them out, and then he would kill them. Once killed, he would either do one of 2 things. Well, actually, he did both. First of all, again, it would bring a level to him of sexual satisfaction so that he was able to satisfy himself sexually. Then he would save body parts of his victims. This to him was a tribute to his victims. All right. Some people would call this a trophy case. Dahmer viewed it more as a tribute so that he could see the people that had given their lives for the purpose of his sexual satisfaction and that had been glorified by the fact that Dahmer chose them for what he considered to be a high honor. All right. Dahmer also would, on occasion, practice cannibalism because he would want those individuals to be part of him. Jeffrey Dahmer is no longer alive. You'll see an interview that was recorded of him on NBC News, and he was killed shortly thereafter while in prison. And to be honest, nobody really misses him. All right. The second type of killer that we're going to discuss this week is the power control. Now, sometimes there's levels of satisfaction, and I'm also going to point out that occasionally people will have multiple typologies of serial killing. That said, power control is similar to rape in that it's not characterized by sexual satisfaction. Instead, it's characterized by control over the victim. All right? And this is all about control, the ability to control the victim. and have the victim do what normally, by the way, this is a man, but normally do what the man wants, all right, is what creates the glorification in the killing. And it's the ultimate expression of control, all right? All right? It's the ultimate expression of control when the serial killer is able to have the level of control that he can take the individual's life. Now, mind you, these folks tend to be very, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, first of all, they tend to be very difficult to catch because they're very planning and very thorough. This group tends to have a higher IQ than other serial killers, but they also want to find that perfect victim. So what they'll do is they'll find somebody that they will stalk for a long period of time if need be, because they need to find that perfect place and perfect time in which they can exercise the control to take that person's life. Mind you, they are extremely calculating, and more importantly, by and large, these folks can fit into normal society and not have people notice that anything's wrong. As such, this is a group of serial killers that becomes very, very, very difficult to catch. The epitome of this serial killer is a gentleman by the name of Ted Bundy. Bundy was a law student who suddenly just started serial killing because he found that he didn't have control over his own life, so he wanted to have control over others. Now, Bundy has killed at least 30 people around the country, all right? That said, there are rumors that he's killed more because in order to get out of the death penalty, he was trying to make a deal that he would tell other people that he had killed. He was going to tell officials about other people he had killed. Officials really didn't care and executed him anyway. He tended to like young college-age women. And interestingly enough, Bundy, as part of his control, would many times bite corpses as after they were dead. And it was a matter of fact, it was his bite marks that were measured via dental records that did him in. As I mentioned before, Ted Bundy is no longer with us. He was executed in the state of Florida. If you want to get more information in the interview I'm showing, Netflix actually has an excellent series with him. However, because of the fact that he fits in so well, one of the things that Netflix has had to write about is to stop having people post remarks on their sites about how sexy Ted Bundy is or how they perceive Ted Bundy to be sexy. Okay, so what do we need to do this week? All right, you're going to have your 4 reflections, so make sure you get those done. You're going to have 1 reading, 1 video on the first killer, and 1 reading and 1 video on the second killer. Then you're going to need to find a hedonistic or power control killer. And what you're going to need to do is write an 800 and 1,000-word essay that describes what happened and who the serial killer was and what he or she did. You're going to describe why the killer fits that typology. I'm going to need you to cite an outside source that you have referred to. And finally, there's going to be points for grammar. All of this is outlined on the syllabus as well as in Blackboard. With that being said, I hope you found this informational and have a fantastic week. Take care.